William, how are you doing
What do you
today?
need? What do you need?
What do I need? What do I
Yeah,
need, William? No, not again. I'm gonna break everything again. Ugh, I'm about to break the whole setup. Okay, I got it all
don't break
working.
it.
I called you the other day, William, and when
Don't
you
break it like school breaks children.
yeah, this school does break children. You know what they do? They tell you, you can't do this, you can't do that, and then you can't because you believe it, because you trusted those people, but they failed you. They really did. They failed you.
You want to know something? One of the things that I've realized is, uh, high school is like always sitting there just like, oh, you're not gonna be able to do that in college. When most college professors are just like, oh, okay. I don't feel good. I went partying last night. So for your project this week, go visit an animal shelter and tell me how it was sitting there helping out. And if you don't, you can go, I guess, read a book.
Yeah, I don't know. The
Tell me how the
education
book was.
system, I think the education system is designed to make you a workhorse. Like when I do believe it was in the 1800s when the school system was made, and it's still sort of the same structure where they are designing you to work in a factory. And that's how they're training you. They're training you to work in a factory. Now, instead of factories, they're training you to work in our 9 to 5 blue collar jobs. And that's one reason why I personally don't like school, because it never really encouraged me to work hard and do good. Because even though I was super intelligent and I'm super smart, it wasn't, I would sit back and I would just sleep throughout all my classes. And you do the same thing. Like in math class, we would sleep throughout our classes, never write down the
I didn't
answers.
sleep because I couldn't fall asleep halfway during the day.
But we would fall
But my
asleep.
teacher would always, my ninth grade teacher always was mad at me because I could just randomly walk up to the board after sitting there watching YouTube almost the entire class and answer the problem with less steps than she was sitting there teaching it.
Exactly. I did the same thing. I would never show how I did it. I would just give you the answer. And they hate that because you're not following the traditional route. And when you don't follow the traditional route, they despise you because you're better than them. You know something different than them. You don't know how to do it, which is why I think you're a genius, Wayne. Because you do something different than
Another
everyone.
thing that I got in trouble for with that teacher is I was taught that, oh, something was supposed to be done this way. And I also did research saying, oh, does it only have to be done that way? And a lot of like different math professors said, yeah, it's supposed to be done that way. You can't show it a different way. And so when my ninth grade teacher said, oh no, you can do it both ways, I'm just like, no, you can't.
And
She's
teachers
like,
hate it when you prove
shut
them
up,
wrong.
you don't know what you're talking about.
I've also been told on multiple occasions that, oh, college is different than high school. College is way better than high school.
And you want to know something? That exact like all the students in my class, they all like sat there and laughed at me, and it's just like sitting there making fun of like, oh, haha, he got it wrong. And then not even like 5 seconds later, one of those students came up to me, asked for help on what we were working on that day. I'm just like, why should I help you? I thought I knew nothing.
And the thing is people admire the people that stand up and take the chance and are willing to fail. I remember when we were younger, William, anytime it was me, you, or Emily, like doing something for the first time, I don't know, jumping off a cliff to go water diving or something. I don't know, it doesn't matter. Getting our ears pierced is a great example. It was me and you went to go get our ears pierced together, and I was like, oh, I'm afraid, I don't know what it's going to be like. And then you were like, I'll be the first one to do it. And I was like, oh, thank you, William. But you've always been the person to,
You were also just afraid of needles.
yeah, that's a fair point. I remember not even that long ago, maybe like 3 years ago, which means I was like 16, 15. I went to go get my flu shot. And this was willingly. I got my flu shot willingly. I sat there in the chair and they pulled out the needle and I just started crying. And as before they even did it, then they shot it and I kept crying. And I was like, I don't know why I'm crying. It doesn't hurt, but I'm crying. Oh man, it was terrible.
No, I just remember like every time like we went to the doctors because we would always like have doctor's appointments on the same day. That made it easier on our mom. Uh, and we were sitting there getting our flu shots. Mom sat there and had to hold you down. And then it was my turn, and I'm just like, "Give me the shot, doc."
Give me more shots. I want more.
Cracked
Give
it.
me all of them.
Like a cracked addict, just like, "Where's the shot, doc? Give me the shot."
This is true. I know you kept asking for more shots. You asked the doctor at one point. I remember this, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you said, "Is there any more shots you can give me?" And the doctor said, "Let me check the charts real quick." I actually we gave you all of the shots, and you were like, "Ah, damn it! Is there any extra
Actually,
shots?"
I when I was in foster care, I went to the doctors and they had to give like the flu shot at that time, and I also had like 3 other shots that I had to like get. And I got them all in the same day, and only one of them drew blood.
Maybe you're a lizard and you don't have blood.
No, lizard.
Maybe you're a lizard. Maybe you're one of those underground lizard people. Are you an alien, William?
I'm not an underground lizard man.
I don't know about that. Maybe you are. I'm kind of skeptical. You're always wanting these shots. Are you even related to me? You're like, give me these shots, and I'm like, oh no, not the needle again.
Are
Ah!
you sure you're related to me?
Yeah, I don't know. Are we even related, William? I don't know.
Can you multitask while having a conversation while playing Guitar Hero?
No, I cannot, unfortunately, but I think you're a genius. You know, I remember a conversation we had when we were over at grandma's at one point, and we were up really late at night because for some reason, ever since we were younger, we always had these super long conversations before we went to bed. And I don't know why we do it. Like every time I try to go to sleep, you would start talking, and every time you would try to go to sleep, I would start talking, and it was
That
a
was only if we were sharing the same room.
point. We
Or
should.
if we were on a vacation, we wouldn't do it either.
That's true. On some vacations, but we shared a room for a lot of our childhood as well, up until we moved into the White House. But we shared a room up until then, and I don't know. I quite enjoyed those conversations. I enjoyed those moments. I don't have a single clue what we talked about ever, but I do remember this specific instance. I do believe it was last Christmas when we were over at Grandma's house, and we were talking, and I was talking to you about like what it's like for you to be autistic because you're on the spectrum. And I was thinking to myself,
Never being able to just focus on one thing. That's why I have a controller in my hands.
well, of course. No, I was thinking to myself, I was thinking, well, maybe I'm on the spectrum. Because when I'm in these social situations, I don't act like everyone else. I don't associate myself with these people just like you do. You don't care what these people think of you. You don't care how they react. You don't care what they do. You just have your own idea and you act upon that. And I do the same thing. And I thought, well, maybe we're on the spectrum together, William. I'm autistic with you. Maybe. But I was also thinking, I wanted you to tell me again that idea you have about what the difference between you and someone that's quote unquote normal. I mean, I think you're normal, William. I think I'm normal. But in society's eyes,
Someone
what's the
who's
difference?
on like the spectrum, like someone who might have ADHD, is someone who can't like sit there and focus on one thing. They have to be doing something else too because they get way too like bored and fidgety. Uh, and they don't like sitting there just focusing on one thing at a time, like in school. But then they can get hyper focused where they get a month's work of homework that they've been sitting there slacking on done in 3 days.
Is that what you did today?
I have done.
Ah, congratulations, William. I'm so proud of you. That's amazing.
Oh,
Very sophisticated. Yes.
God, I gotta pop my back.
Oh, please go ahead. Hey, William, I want to know. So you told me the other day we had a conversation about when we were younger. Because I called you and I just wanted to, and I apologized to you about all of the terrible things I've done to you when I was your younger and your brother, and you like me hitting you upside the head with a metal pole, me always beating you up and
I
pushing you,
forgot about that.
pushing you off the trampoline and you not being able to breathe, me taking your candy.
No, that never happened. you never like pushed me off the tramp.
No.
That was something else because you've never pushed me off the tramp. I think you're mixing that up with like pushing me off the tramp with another experience that I told you about while I was in foster care.
Sure.
Cause uh, when I was in foster care, one of the people that I was like staying at, we went to OMSI. I do believe that's the correct place. And we, I was sitting there waiting to do a certain activity there, which is only like two people at like a specific time. I just got up there because I just finished a match, and they're just like, "Hold on, we want to do it one more time." I'm just like, "Oh yeah, sure." And while like backing up, one of them, like the one that asked me to like sit there and get off so we can do it one more time, pushed me down, and I could hardly breathe afterwards.
Oh, you're talking about Sky High, the trampoline
No,
place.
no. It's not Sky High because I never went to Sky High while in foster care.
Well, it was the trampoline place that we've been to, right? Like Jump Zone or something like that.
I do believe it was OMSI.
OMSI was the place in Oregon that's near the river that had all of the very interesting
Yeah. I know that. It's Geronimo's.
Geronimo's trampoline.
Yeah, it was the trampoline place. Somehow, every time I went there, I was able to get like the people who were not supposed to like sit there and stop like watching people to like sit there and play tag with literally almost everyone in the park.
Hmm. Well, yeah, you just have such a interesting personality, and I don't know, I really like it. I was thinking, I was gonna ask, is like, I remember this very specific instance, and I like to bring it back to me apologizing to you the other day about me being a terrible, terrible child. You, I want to bring up this first instance of not just me hitting you in the head with a metal pole, but we were watching a movie one time, and we had cotton candy, and I finished all my cotton candy, and you shared some of your cotton candy with me, even though I was always super mean to you. And I want to ask you, your response to me apologizing was, you were just a kid. It was fine. And to me, in my perception, that told me that you've been very cognizant of who you are in your entire life. Like the same version you are
Well,
now.
no, because here's the thing: when you're children and like very young, you really don't really know stuff until you're older. And so, a lot of siblings, when they get older, they sit there and have that point in time where they sit there and apologize to each other for like what happened as children. And you just gotta sit there and apologize. And the other person just can't hold it out against them because they were a child. They didn't know much about the world at that time.
You just seem a lot more mature than you lead off. And that's what was really striking to me. You said, "Oh, I can't hold any of that against you, Michael." And I was like, "You're mature? What?"
You're mature? What do you mean you're mature? Everyone has the moments where they're sitting there goofing off with friends, can still have their sit there and have their serious side. There was one day I was sitting there talking with my friends and asked them, "What do you think about like my personality and all this other stuff?" And they're just like, "Oh, you're that one friend that's like sitting there like always like goofing off, but if we get into a serious situation, you just focus in and you're responsible and mature the entire time. And then once that situation's gone and over with, you're sitting there joking around, having fun again."
Yeah, being able to I think for a lack of better words, clock in and clock out at the right times. For example, in my friend group, I'm I'm very laid back and chill, and I don't really talk a lot unless it's about business or improving, and sometimes I just sit there and watch them do things. But I'm also there was this one time one of them like fell onto the floor because of some sort of it wasn't yeah, and so they fell onto the floor and there was this whole episode of like seizures or like spasms they were having. And me and a few others were able to just clock in or clock out, however you choose to say it, and be
It'd be
serious and take.
clock in at that time due to the fact that you're basically clocking in to be like serious, and then clocking out would be sitting there being like, "Oh, I blah blah blah, understandable, have a good day" type thing. Just sitting there joking around is clocking out.
Okay. Yeah. And it's a very interesting thing to be able to just switch it on and off at all times. I mean, we did it. Yeah. So it's very interesting and I really like it. So why, tell me in your perception when you were younger, why were you always so nice to me even though I was always so mean to you? Like even when you were younger, not talking about right now, but when we were younger.
Probably due to the fact that I was just always just a nice kid.
Why? Why
Like,
are you
I'm
so
not
nice?
gonna lie, when I was younger, I was more sitting there, kind. And so, like, I don't know.
You'd be like, "Hey, can I have some of your candy, Michael?" Like, imagine Halloween night, and we're like, "Hey, Michael, can I have some of that candy?" I'm like, "No," and I'm like, "But can I have some of yours?" And you're like, "Yeah," and I'm like, "Why would you allow me to have some of yours if I didn't allow you to have some of mine?"
Probably due to the fact that I already know I eat a crap ton of sugar. Not gonna lie.
You-
Uh, so, like, it's like a normal thing for me, especially nowadays, too. Like, I've eaten so much candy that my body's just like, oh, I don't really want to. But then I still get the urge to, like, have sugar. And it's just like, oh, I really kind of want sugar right now.
Yeah, I was.
You gotta realize when I was a kid, because we've had stories about this where I sat there, we got home from Halloween, we put on a movie after trading in our candy with mom, the ones that we didn't like. That was one of the best things that ever happened because we were able to switch in all the candy we did not like.
What a great mother.
Or sit there and trade it between each other. And I ate almost my entire bag.
That.
Went and threw up because I ate too much. Told that I almost ate the throw up. Went back to court.
Yeah. You know, I think it's funny because I've never been too big on sweets. I remember we went to go get Frosties from Wendy's, and I had like half of it. It might have just been a bad day, but I threw up just because it felt like too much sugar. I was never been too big into sugar and candy.
But you gotta also realize with like sitting there being mean to your siblings when you're younger, you still like sit there and argue with your sibling because it's a normal thing to do. But like you're still sitting there protective of your sibling too. Uh, like what we've also talked about was when we were younger and we were walking home together. Your friend sat there and was bullying me after you were sitting there talking crap about me, and your friend sat there and chimed in and started saying stuff about me. You and he pushed me, and then you pushed him and told him you're not my friend anymore. And it's just like no matter what, you're always gonna have your brother because even if you're like rude to him, you always sit there and make up at the end of the day. Someone's sitting there being rude to him. You're just like, stop that. That is my job. I get paid $0, and that is my job. You're not getting paid for it. Get out of here.
Yeah, I mean, I think in that instance, it was really a defining moment in my childhood to help me realize that I would I would drop any one of my friends the moment they disrespected you or harmed you in a
What?
disrespectful
You're gonna
manner.
drop kick them like a little child?
Yeah, I would leave them so fast. I would get in fights with them for it. And it's like because I am protective over you.
Oh, that is funny. Drop kick him like a child. Okay, that's a funny one.
Now,
Uh,
what about our relationship with our sister? It's like I've been trying to get into contact with her. I've been trying to talk to her more, and it's just challenging. She doesn't really want to talk to us.
yeah.
So do we just have to wait till she comes, you think?
Emily, yeah. Oh, I gotta get the grapple blade for that.
So what do you think is the conscious or subconscious constipulations around, the brotherly love sort of stuff? Like I will bully you, but I will be very protective if anyone else does it. Like, what is the subconscious and realization of that? Like, in your opinion?
I do believe it's just due to the fact that almost every sibling out there will, even if they sit there and like hate their sibling, you just always have your like urge to sit there and also kind of help them when you see them getting like hurt by someone else. Like if you sat there and like randomly saw a random person sitting there getting hurt when you were younger, would you sat there and have gone and helped him? Probably not. But if you saw your sibling, you just have the random urge to sit there and help that person. And when you grow older, it kind of goes away from sibling because you're kind of more grown into a relationship with that sibling and you're sitting there having fun, being like friends with your sibling. So they eventually become basically a friend. Now you can still sit there and kick their ass, and because they're siblings, and you eventually start sitting there being like, "Man, why did I do all that stuff when I was a kid? Why is my sibling? Why was I always mean to my siblings?" And then you also sit there and go out and help other people to sit there and who are like sitting there getting injured and stuff by other people.
Yeah,
Like right now, if you went outside and you saw someone picking on someone, would you go and help that person?
I would hope so.
Yeah. Uh, and if you saw your sibling getting hurt, what would you do? And like right now, instantly.
Oh,
Let's say Emily's getting hurt right now. What's your first reaction?
I know for a fact I will get up and at least try to defend her.
Yeah. Like that's why something that like always gets brought up, like if they were from like the mob, a lot of people sit there and also make jokes about this. It's like how the mob is always sitting there trying to protect their like sister
Mm-hmm.
and like get angry when she has a boyfriend because they don't want that boyfriend sitting there hurting her feelings. It's basically kind of like that. It's just you always have like that. Even if you sit there and hate your sibling, you don't want them sitting there getting hurt unless it's you causing them that hurt.
Yeah. So there's
Maybe we should go airsofting one of these times.
no, paintballing. Paintballing hurts more.
I wasn't going for the pain. I wasn't going because of, oh, I want to shoot you so you feel the pain. I was mostly talking about because airsoft is fun. But
Paintball
now
is
I see
basically the
where
same.
your head's at. You're sitting there just like, oh, I want to hurt my sibling finally. My
Yes.
chance.
I want you to have those what not warts.
Bruises.
Yeah, those bruises all over you. No, I wanted to bring this up to you is like there for me, like Emily is older than me, but you're younger than me. And for me, this is how I look at it. You, as my younger brother, are the only person in my entire life that I have the deepest and willingness connection to be willing to sacrifice my life for anyone. Like I would not sacrifice my life for Emily, not for dad, not for mom, but I would for
Would you
you.
jump into in front of a speeding train?
I mean, as long as it saves your life.
I doubt that, but
Well, I'm just saying
I
that
would because like, why would I sit there and risk my life in front of a speeding train? Like, unless it's like already pretty far away, then like, meh, not gonna be that dangerous.
I'm just saying you're the only person, in my opinion, that I would risk my life for. Just wanted to share that because yeah, you are younger than me, and I am very protective of you, but I don't see Emily as someone I need to look out for because she's older than me. She should know what she's doing, but you're definitely someone I feel like I should look out for. Even if you might be smarter than me, in my opinion, you're smarter than me. In my opinion, you're more mature than me. I mean, I'm sure you know a lot more than I do. You're probably the next sound
Oh,
Ironstein, but I definitely want to protect you.
you mean. What you gonna do? I'm smarter than you.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I mean, I think you're smarter than me. You were talking about this idea when we were over at grandma's on Christmas was that about these doors. Like this is the difference between you as a quote unquote autistic person and quote unquote the normal person was that you look through the peek hole of like imagine a door and you look through the keyhole to see if that's the door you want to open. But most people just chop at one door over and over and over again without even knowing what's on the other side. But they never get through because they wear out their axe. And can you elaborate? Tell me the story because I can't tell it as good as you.
Honestly, I don't remember that conversation. That's been too long ago.
Well, in your opinion, can you tell me what the big difference is between the two people?
I guess what you would think is like someone who's just sitting there like chopping at the same thing over and over again, like a monotonous job. And there's the other person who's just like, oh, there's more doors besides just this one. My pick is kind of getting bad, so let's see in what each one will hold instead of just sitting here at just one of the doors. Probably just sitting there not doing like the best stuff in life. Basically getting like those 9 to 5 jobs.
Mm-hmm. You know,
Just so you know, I'm doing like multiple things at once.
I mean, I expect nothing less. I remember the other day, William, I called you, and you told me that I'm never gonna talk to you again if you buy a video editor, and it's gonna be years before I talk to you again. And in that moment, luckily, my body knows how to handle a situation like that. But in my mind, the first thing that happened was I am so frustrated. I wanted to get up and start kicking and breaking things. But luckily, I didn't escalate the situation. I made it move forward and be good. But I got so mad, William. I tell you, I got so mad when you said that because I said to myself, I've been working so god dang hard to build our relationship, and you're willing to just throw it away because of my financial situation? What the hell, William? I'm doing this for us, for our lineage and our family and everything like that. It's like you're willing to just never talk to me again? Our brotherly bond, William? What are you? You're throwing it away! Why? Why? What was your thought process behind that?
It was due to the fact that I didn't want to sit there and have just my like basically be knowing that because of me sitting here making this like uh, uh channel with you is like putting you more into financial like basically ruin, even though you might not think of it as financial ruin.
Mm-hmm.
Still financial ruin.
Because I would be struggling. Now, let me ask you the question. Is someone that's working, the average person is broke, right? They're living paycheck to paycheck, paying for rent or and food and their car payment and all their stupid subscriptions
Which
that
you
they don't
are
need.
at right here and now.
But for me, it's different. I'm living paycheck to paycheck, spending half of it on future investments, and video editors and other things like that would be future investments. Like I'm willing to live paycheck to paycheck because of my future, but other people are living paycheck to paycheck just to survive. I'm living paycheck to paycheck by choice.
It's still not good. Because even if you're sitting there doing it because, oh, I'm trying to make it in the world, if you're not sitting there like making sure you're getting good food and all, it's still like not good for you.
I completely agree. I was talking to mom earlier today, and I was going on a rant about this exact topic about how I want to do this real estate stuff, but I have to edit the videos and all that. And it was this whole concept of I'm choosing to struggle and choosing to uh, do one thing at a time, my choice. Because if I don't, then I will be focusing and stretching myself too thin. Which is funny because when I was stretching myself too thin, people were just telling me, you need to do one thing at a time. And now that I'm doing one thing at a time, people are telling me, you need to stretch yourself thinner. And it's like, and this sort of concept. But I do need to take it one step at a time. So I wanted to bring to your opinion of religion. What is your thought on God? Like, what is God to you?
Well, I don't fully believe in a god. I like if I see something like actually happen with my own eyes, I would be like, oh, okay. And going through like just one religion, being like, oh, this has to be the exact thing and stuff is not something that I'm like, oh yeah, that's perfect for me. Cause like I've taken like multiple things out of like all of like the different like religions that have been like basically made and been like, oh, that's actually something that I can sit there, put my beliefs into. Like, I don't fully believe that we all came from one person, like Adam and Eve, because first of all, if we did, first of all, that is a lot of goddamn incest. Dear God. And just sitting there thinking, oh, we came from one person is just like, not really like just like really weird and just like why. And then like the religion of basically just religious science, basically people who just sit there and believe in science. Some of the stuff that they found, which a lot of it is facts because a lot of it's been put there, is just like, oh yeah, I can believe in that due to the fact that they have evidence. I don't know if all the evidence is fully true, but it's still evidence in general. And so I can sit there and be like, okay, I can believe in a bit of this stuff, like saying, oh, humans evolved out from monkeys and stuff, and some of like the other stuff that they've said. And like, yeah, some of it might not be true, but at least it kind of gives a bit of foundation about like where we came from. Yeah, it might be wrong, but we can always figure that out later. And it's just like, okay, let's continue off with what we're doing now and focus more on the future because that's what's more important right now than sitting here focusing on if we came from monkeys or Adam and Eve.
Yeah. You know, in my opinion, this might be a long stretch. I'm not too sure if I can explain this very well, but I'll try my best. So imagine the mind and the body real quick. So my mind believes that it is God because I create everything that's around me. Everything is my design, my creation. I cultivate the world around me. And I believe that to be 100% true. But I choose to currently, and this is why I bring it up, I'm currently trying to accept religion. So we'll say Christianity, for example. I'm trying to choose to accept religion so my physical body can learn to be more humble, can learn to accept and pray to my mind, and my mind is the God. So then my body learns more to be humble, my body learns to express itself in a way that's less confusing than how I'm trying to explain it right now. Because I could just say, yeah, I believe in God and, God, saved me and God did this. But like in reality, I did this. I know I did this. This was all my creation, my choosing. I've chosen to suffer. I have chosen to put myself in situations to benefit me in the long run. I've chosen to sacrifice things for my future. And I've chosen to achieve success and make lots of money, and there's a lot of sacrificing I have to make, and I've chosen that. But I could just say, yeah, God has put me on this path, and He's chosen me to do these divine conquerings of telling people and sharing my wisdom or whatever. I mean, it doesn't really matter, but I mean, the Bible will probably give me plenty of quotes and scriptures to be able to quote, to be able to explain my thoughts better instead of saying, yeah, I did this. Because I feel like if I say, yeah, I created myself, I made myself lucky, I achieved success, then it makes me seem arrogant. It makes me seem less humilable, doesn't matter. But if I say, I just pray to God every day, and He makes this happen, and He puts me in the right situations, it was all lucky. It was all luck. It kind of makes me seem humble, but at the same time, I know in my mind that I did this. I know I did this, and it's because of me I did this. Or I could say, yeah, God put me in the right place, and I pray to Him every day, and I thank Him, and I'm grateful, and and I have gratitude towards Him, and I appreciate Him, which I do. I appreciate myself. I have gratitude towards myself, but there's just two different ways of looking at it from the physical human body perspective, right? There's two ways I can go about it, and in my mind, there's only one real answer, which is I did this, but from the external body perspective, there's those two. And I'm currently trying to find religion to figure out what I want to go about doing and how I want to choose to say things and go about creating this surface level persona that I am cultivating right now. Because, I have the deep one and the next one and the next one. And I'm just figuring out that surface level of what and how do I explain it to myself. Also, I just wanted to inform you, I don't plan on being a porn star anymore. I figured that might hurt myself in ways I wasn't expecting. And so then I turned to the Bible instead of porn. So I thought to myself, instead of trying to find love through sex and porn, I'll try to find love through the Bible and Jesus. We'll see how that goes. I mean, you know me. I've never been one to believe in God. I've never been one to believe or accept any of those ideas. But I'm choosing to go on this journey to see if I can find an internal reason to externally believe or say I believe in God. Because it's not a one size fits all standard. It's not, oh, God is this almighty person. Because in reality, in my opinion, and I will not believe this, but I am God. I'm just going to choose how I reflect that in the external world. And it's all about finding these internal reasons to do external things. And that's all about, same thing with content creation. There's internal reasons for it, right? There's internal reasons for me making lots of money and doing podcasts and doing YouTube videos and posting on social media. There's internal reasons for it. I'm not doing it for any external reason at all. I'm not doing it for the likes, the comments, the fame, the success. Those are all just effects of the causation of the internal reasons. And because I have those internal reasons, I can stick with it consistently and do it for the long term because it becomes a lifestyle. Because it is, I use, we'll say content creation for simplicity. So content creation are coping mechanisms for certain things. Instead of negative coping mechanisms, I have positive coping mechanisms, which then reinforce the positive growth habits, which then reinforce my future success and wealth. And I know that there's a bunch of stuff I have to sacrifice for that. And I know that, and I'm going to sacrifice everything I have to achieve that for our lineage. So again, right? So for example, this podcast isn't about becoming famous. It's not about that. It's about genuinely, internally, I believe that this is about building a relationship with you. And I believe it works, and it is working. It gives me a reason and gives you a reason to talk to each other and reminisce on the past, and it allows me to reminisce on the past, which I don't allow myself to do very often. But reminisce on the past, talk to you about things that I probably wouldn't necessarily not necessarily want or feel like the need to bring up, but because I want more things to talk about. So then I bring up other things because if I was talking to you on a personal level, it would be more so, okay, maybe this isn't as important. Maybe I don't need to bring this up. But because I do this, I feel like I have the reason to talk to you in the sense of it doesn't matter what I talk about as long as I'm talking about something, because then there's content there. And then it opens me up. Like it helps me become more vulnerable with you, and then helps you become more vulnerable with me because I'm being more vulnerable. So then we can share personal experiences. So I want to talk to you about what happened in foster care for you. Like, what was that really like? And I don't want to, oh, it was terrible or it was good. I mean, I did this. I want like in depth. Like, what was it for you, like emotionally and mentally? Like, what were you going through? What was your thought process?
Emotionally, it was more just like trying to mostly get through it. There was no like real disdain or anything like that. It was just more trying to get through it and out of the system, and just sitting there being in like some pretty not cool places that just felt awful to be at, and trying to get out of those situations.
I completely agree. I was right there with you, just trying to survive and get out, and just move forward in life. And I felt stuck, and definitely not in any good situations. I want to know what it was like for you when you found out the night that I was going to be separated from you. What did you feel in that moment?
Not like too much sadness, because I also was told about like why you were getting kicked out,
Hmm.
but was also partly my fault and not at the same time.
Hmm.
So I felt like a little bit guilty, but not like fully, because it wasn't me who wrote those letters. What called death threats?
Yeah, I was threatening people.
And like I also realized that it was also kind of due to me, due to the fact that I was sitting there, uh, lying and all that, which is one of the reasons why you got kicked out. And it's just like, oh yeah, it's kind of my fault, blah blah blah, understandable. Uh, gotta get through that, blah blah blah, and all this other stuff, which is just like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, I was just terrified because I didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't know. I didn't know what life was going to throw at me, and I was too caught up in crying. I mean, it sent me to a good place though. The Bannock House for foster youth, very good place. Sadly, I was only there for a few weeks, and then I got put in Montpelier, and that place was no fun for 2.5 years. And then I went to a place in Blackfoot, and they didn't want me for very long, maybe a few months. Trying to, they were trying to take away my rights. Did I ever tell you about that? Them trying to take away my rights?
Yeah, I've been told that it was very awful.
Yeah. So
Not the exact reasons.
So the story is one of the rules, and I read the rules over a million times because I wanted to make sure I knew what I could do and couldn't do, and what I could and couldn't get away with, right? And of course, I'm going to push the
Trying to
buttons.
get around the system.
Of course, I'm
Bend
genius.
the rules.
Bend the rules.
Rules.
And so one of the clearest lines in the rule book was, you have the right to a personal journal that no one has the right to look at. Right? One of the most disdained rules in the foster youth system. And so I always wrote in a journal, always, or even texted someone. So I was texting my aunt about a problem that arose, and the foster mother, she looked over my shoulder and saw, and she said, "Give me your phone. You can't be texting that stuff." And I said, "Okay, sure." So I gave her my phone. I asked if I could have it back. She said, "No, you couldn't have it back." So I went and wrote in my journal, and then day after day after day, they continued to basically, in my opinion, harass me, and continued to give me reasons to write in my journal. So every time I was frustrated or upset, I would write in my journal, and they would know, because every time I would get frustrated or upset, I would go to my room, I'd write it down, and then they told me, you have to be outside. So I couldn't write it. So I couldn't write anymore. Is what they thought. They thought, okay, so he's going to his room every time he gets frustrated. So we're going to force him to be outside. So I thought, okay, I'll go outside. So I brought my journal and my pencil, and I went outside. And so then they said, "What are you writing?" And I said, "Oh, I'm just writing in here." And they said, "What are you writing about?" And I said, "Oh, nothing." And they said, "What, about us?" And I said, "Well, of course, but it doesn't matter." And they said, "Well, let me look." And I said, "No, you can't." And they said, "Give it here." And I said, "You're breaking the rules of the foster care system. I have the right to a personal journal that you can't look through." And they said, "You're going to give it to me." And I said, "Okay, let me finish writing this page." And they said, "Fine." And so then I ripped out all the pages and then handed it to them. And then they kept that book for like a week.
Damn. That is one way to sit there and be like, all right, you want it? All right. Here's the book.
Yeah.
They never said, give me the papers in the book. They just asked for the book.
Yeah.
They never said you rip out the pages inside.
I ripped out the pages with my writing on it and everything. I don't know what was going on in their minds. I don't know why they cared so much. It was such an interesting situation. I've been put in many situations like that. But yeah. And then I moved back to Bannock House, and I was there for another year. And that was great. Kind of, not really. I was there with a bunch of teenagers, which was very interesting. A lot of hormones going around, I'll tell you that. And definitely an interesting place. A bunch of teenagers. And so, I don't know. Not gonna lie, I kind of miss it. I kind of miss always being around it.
miss the Bannock House. You want to go back. Here's your little golden ticket.
Now, I don't want to go back.
Take your,
I'm just
take the
saying.
golden ticket. Shut up and take the golden ticket. Shut up and take the golden ticket. You hear me?
I'm I'm just saying that
Here is the golden ticket.
I loved being around all of those other people going through the same experience that I was. And I just valued them. And even though it was chaotic every single day, I tell you not, I kid you not, every single day something chaotic happened and it was always different. Like no day was ever the same. Like it was never peaceful. It was always chaotic, always something new, like always a new adventure. Because one of the teenagers would go batshit crazy. I mean, I was one of them, of course, a few times. And because they had this point system. Let me tell you about this point system, William. It was 0, 1, 2, and 3, right? And so 0, the only thing you could do was be in your room and be in the dining room. 1, you get a little bit more privileges as you go up. So anytime, because they could take you from a 3 to a 0 really fast, and you had to work your way back up because it was like a point system. So you had to like do certain tasks, and you would earn points to get back up to 3. So it was super difficult to get up. Well, it wasn't super difficult, but it was, it took like a week to get back up to 3. And so sometimes if you do the right things, which are ridiculous, they could take you from a 3 to a 0 real fast. And so they did that so many times. And every time they did that, I'm very positive they regretted it because the person and a few other people around that person would always be super chaotic. So they'd take one person down to a 0, and then another person would be like, well, that's stupid. Drop me down to a 0. And then they would cause them to drop down to a 0. And then now they would be chaotic together and the whole house would be insane. And it was a whole ordeal, William. I promise you, it was so chaotic. But I always had someone to talk to.
About it sounds chaotic.
Yeah, but we always had
part of the chaos? Were you part of the chaos?
I was.
Be honest.
I was. They would drop me to 0, and I would break every rule in the rule book. I would scream, I would yell, I would jump, I would run, I would kick, I would shove, I would bite. I mean, maybe not all of that, but I would break a lot of the rules, and so would a lot of other people. And I don't know, it was such a fun and interesting thing. See, I think one of my favorite parts about it was I always had someone to talk to, right? In the middle of the night or early in the morning, there was always someone for me to go and talk to because there was either a staff member or there was my roommate or another roommate that was in a different room but still really close to us because there was no doors to always talk to. And I just really valued that. It was just really nice. So I appreciated that. Yeah. And then they wanted to have me get adopted by these weird psycho-religious people. God.
Oh yeah, I know who you were talking about.
Yeah. Did I tell you that they forced me to read the Bible before I went to bed? And I told them I didn't want to?
I know about that.
Yeah. That was ridiculous. Luckily, I had my phone and everything with me, so after that, I don't know what I did, but I got on my phone, figured out the Wi-Fi password and everything. I don't know. When you're in a situation like that, like foster care, for example, you weasel your way around everything and everywhere all the time. Like I knew how to get a hold of passwords. I knew how to get a hold of like access the internet, access other people's accounts. I learned all of that real fast. They were like, "Well, you
learned how to become a master hacker in under 3 days."
Not even a master hacker.
Going to the foster care system.
I just knew how to look around people's rooms and spot out the unusual and find things and also guess things. And I don't know, you just learn very, very fast. I feel like you kind of have to grow up fast when you're in a environment such as the foster care system. What do you think? Like, what is your take on the foster care system as a whole? And give me a little
Oh, it's
insight.
awful.
Give me a little insight into your experience, like I just did, about your foster care experience.
Um, one of the places that I went to, they said, oh, they were like setting up cameras, and they said, oh, we'll never put one in, that we'll have all of them in plain sight. You'll know where they are, and blah blah blah, and all this other nonsense. Couple weeks later, she forgot that she was using the she was like looking through the uh, uh, security camera, which you can speak through these ones, and basically showed where it basically was. And both me and another kid that was like living there were super pissed off because when we found it, it was literally completely hidden. You could not even really tell it was there. And she said, oh, every one of them are easy to spot, easy to see, blah, blah, blah. It was like you could tell it was specifically hidden due to the fact it was hidden in a black box.
Mm-hmm.
And then she kept trying to deny the fact that she hid it.
Mm-hmm.
Which I found very fucking funny.
Mm-hmm.
We still found ways around that due to the fact that we would sit there and specifically put stuff in front of it.
Mm-hmm.
Because why the fuck not?
Mm-hmm. And
We just kept getting around it. Eventually, we actually had basically a pretty big fight about it. Where I was sitting there talking to her about it, and I mean getting very pissed off about it.
mm-hmm.
Like, to the point where I like stopped listening to her and was at the park until some police officers told me that I needed to go with them. And I'm just like, alright, fine.
I think that's ridiculous.
There was like so much reluctance in my voice that like anyone could tell that I'm basically just like not really wanting to go back.
I remember this story I was told from one of the Bannock House staff, and they said when they took me to court that when they were going to take me away again, that I was hanging onto a tree and I was crying, "Don't take me away! Don't let me go!" I was like, I don't know if you were there for that, but I don't know. It was always very, very interesting. I don't know. Court, it never scared me, but I was just always so. First off, I was very happy to see you guys because I was always secluded from you guys in my perception, and it was very frightening and upsetting as well. Because I mean, I just wanted to be around you guys. I trusted you guys. I know you guys, and they took me away from that. So every time I got to see you guys in court, I was able to be happy to see you guys at least for a little bit. Then, then we, just sat there for hours. Man, how frustrating that was. And then, yeah, we had that whole ordeal. Remember when I had the judge give me his tie?
No, that was Emily.
Okay, I thought that was me.
That was Emily. That was Emily. I know this for a fact because we all sat there and laughed.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, we got his tie. That was very, very
I
interesting.
wonder if Emily still has his tie.
No, probably not. Can you tell me what the experience was like for you hitting you upside the head with a metal pole?
I don't remember.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, yeah. I hit you and it just
First, first and foremost, I don't think anyone would remember that. Third of all, um, if someone did remember that, I was still a little kid, so like I would honestly not know.
William, would you do mushrooms with me?
Not right now.
No, of course. I'm not even near you to be able to give you mushrooms. But I ask because I'm sure you know what it does, but if
Yeah, it's a hallucinant.
yeah, we can trip together and we can put ourselves on the same wavelength so then I can get a little glimpse into your mind. You think that'd be a good thing?
I guess. I don't know.
I want to get into your mind. I want to dig around in there. I feel like you have so much.
Ew, that sounds weird.
I feel, I'm like a brain surgeon. I want to put my hands on your brain.
I want to put my hands on your brain, child. Let me into your brain.
Yeah, but I just feel like you
Why
have.
does it taste spicy in here?
Is it dark? Is it bright? Is it pink? Is it squishy?
I don't know. What is it?
I don't know. I just feel like you have so much to hide, so much to know, so much depth and knowledge to you.
Why do you think that? Alright, but here's the thing. If we do, we are playing video games while we're doing it.
I don't know if that's even possible.
No. You can't. You can't. Trust me.
What if we turned on a TV show at least?
Or yeah, that could work.
Or we could even
I just. Oh come on! It would be funny just to see like how far we get into like playing a game. Like let's say we choose, I don't know, like Halo to play.
oh, it can't be violent and gory.
Oh yeah, we should pick a violent door. See what we can do on a Minecraft world.
Minecraft, yeah, let's play Minecraft.
It's like, all right, let's see how far we got yesterday.
You know what
No,
we could
wait, why are you in a hole with nothing in your inventory?
Are we gonna play like survival or are we gonna do creative for this? We could also record it.
We could do creative. We could do creative. See
Yeah.
what monstrosities we make.
What if we also recorded the experience too? Yeah,
Oh, that would be cool.
that would.
Make it the Drunken Brothers channel.
No, we could put it on the Patreon, okay? Don't worry, you guys. We're gonna get the Patreon out soon. We just have to have enough content to be able to do that. So we're working on that, but Patreon coming soon. Stay tuned.
And don't worry, you can also buy feet pics, and that is a joke.
Yes, we can put William's feet pics on the internet because we already did that
No.
once.
No, we are not. If we're selling anyone's, it's going to be yours.
Oh, my feet are all over the internet already, William.
Why?
No, they're not. I think I have an artistic nude photo shoot coming up though, so. Yeah.
Oh,
But yeah,
funny.
but we also have to make sure, my suggestion is we do it at Dad's house and then just let them know so then they can take care of us in case we do start having a bad trip. So,
Of course, we would have someone there to like sit there and help.
of course, of course. You need to get a job, William. I was talking to Dad about this today, and I said, he needs to get a job. And he said,
I heard you. I heard you all.
okay. But yeah, I mean, I'm not going to rush you. I mean, I'll continue editing them. Yeah. Yeah. But, all right, William. I think
An
I'm gonna,
hour.
yeah, I'm gonna wrap that up.
Why? You don't want it to go for longer?
No, we can keep recording, and then we can put that towards the Patreon.
I guess. I don't know.
We'll wrap this up. If you want to see the extra 20 minutes, go to our Patreon that we haven't even set up yet, and get ready for a bunch of extra content that hasn't even been released or made yet to be on there. If anything, I'll just cut out the rest of this.